I started off having a really bad day, and it's turned out to be a really good day. So, with that said, this should be a very, very, very entertaining show, and I don't want to waste any more of your time right now. So, we're going to get right into it, and we'll see you guys in, I think, just less than a minute. It's Friday night, so you know what that means. What's going on, guys?
What's going on?
Okay, cool. I can still hear everybody. That's fantastic news.
Awesome.
Okay, so first things first. Why don't we go around and introduce ourselves? We'll start with Yusuf since he's right here, and then Dylan, then Chris. But yeah, guys, go ahead, introduce yourselves to anybody that doesn't know you.
Hey, so my name is Yusuf, the owner of Snake Shack. I'm from South Ontario, Windsor, the Windsor area. Started breeding ball pythons in 2019.
Very nice. Dylan.
Well, Dylan, Dizzy Reptiles, started breeding in 2020. So this is going into my third breeding season.
Chris Sexton with Heligai Serpents. Been keeping since 99, been breeding ball pythons since, I think our first pairings were in 2018.
That's awesome. And the reason that we are all here is because this is our second ever Discord feature. First one we've ever tried with 4 people, so that should be interesting. We'll see how that goes. But seems like we probably have a good group to try to make that work.
Yeah, you made a mistake having Dylan and I on the same stream.
Oh, yeah, that was completely by design. So we're good there. No, there were a few people in the Discord that I was like, if they want to do it, I might not go with the 4 people format, but we're fine. We're good. Okay, so we're just gonna jump right into questions, and I'm gonna bounce around with who I ask first, just seemingly at random, just because I don't want to have some. It doesn't fucking matter. Okay, so we'll start with Chris. Actually, what was the origin of your business name?
I get that question a lot. It's the blending of 2 of my hobbies. I spent 10 years building, flying, and testing large-scale remote control helicopters. Got a little bit in the drone stuff there at the end as well. Still do that some, but not. Kids are getting older. That took me all over the country for events. They don't hold a big gathering like that every year, every weekend in your hometown. So spent a lot of time on the road. Now the kids are getting old and demanding more attention. So, and then obviously the reptiles. They've been a on and off passion of mine most of my life, and decided to dive back into it in 2017, and here we are.
That's awesome. Mr. Dylan, what about you?
Well, it kind of started from when you're a kid, you start making your gamer tags for Xbox and stuff, right? So one of the first gamer tags I had was DZ 1, 2, 3, 4 or something, because Dylan and Zach. So a lot of people probably don't know I have a twin brother, Zach. He helps me with the snakes a little bit of cleaning here and there, but he mostly helps me build racks. That's mostly what he does. Sorry?
Never mind.
No, go ahead.
No, I was saying, and routing the top of the rack as well.
Yeah, routing the top of a rack. Yep. Yeah. We did that. But so that was one of our first gamer tags, and it kind of, I was just like, okay, well, Dizzy Reptiles. If I do I haven't had any kind of logo yet, but I've been kind of playing with the idea of doing some kind of cartoon character that's got a bunch of ball pythons around his head, when somebody gets knocked in the head and they got all the stars around their head, right? Something like that. So that's kind of where that idea came in. And I was like, well, Dizzy, it kind of just made sense.
That's pretty awesome. And Yusuf, what about you, man?
Well, my story is definitely not as interesting as both of theirs. So I actually was not a reptile person till around 2014. Was in a reptile shop, and they had our local reptile shop, and we had reptiles at 50% off, and there was a ball python there, and my buddy at the time said, well, you should get that. I said, I'm terrified of snakes, and he said, screw it, get over it, let's get it. So I had this reptile, and he did all the husbandry for me because we lived in the same place. This was during school, and I was terrified of that thing for a few months, and then kind of got over it, but I had to go out west, and my job didn't allow me to be stationary, so I had to give it to a friend and got out of there. Came back into it in around 2017 and started getting fascinated with it and seeing a lot of those YouTube videos, the bar checks and all that kind of stuff. And in the beginning, I was actually planning on just having like a different set of species, green trees and ball pythons and boas, and realized that not very easy to do, to kind of manage those different parameters for every animal. So, but then I was
talking about.
Yeah, so I don't know how you do it. Props to you, man. And I'm too OCD, so like I'll lose my shit. I'll lose my mind over that, right? So, fast forward, and I see a pied around the same time there, and I'm like, I wonder how a pied and an albino would look together. And then that's how I found dreamsicles, and I was like, I want to buy one of these, and realized that, holy shit, there's no way I can buy it. In 2017, man, like dreamsicles were a lot more than now. And
I'd say a male dreamsicle is probably double the price for your.
Exactly. Yeah, it's about $5,000.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was like, holy crap, I want to make a dreamsicle, and kind of started from there. So, trying to come up with the name, which is the question. I went off on a tangent there.
That's all right.
How I started the name, I envisioned that I was gonna have like a snake shack by my house, and I'm like, man, that's the goal. That's where I want to have like a little facility, but I couldn't come up with a name. Some of the names that I came up with, I don't even want to tell you. They're terrible. And yeah, but my girlfriend was like, hey,
you just made me think of a new question to ask people.
Definitely got nothing to do with Shake Shack.
So I was also.
Now you have to give me one of the names that you didn't end up going with.
Oh, dude, it's embarrassing. Fine, Danger Noodle Exotics.
Amazing. Yes. You two
terrible.
are both also getting the same question, by the way.
So yeah, how I came about my logo was another. So I'm obsessed with really simplistic logos. I think simplistic logos are very effective. You look at Walmart, McDonald's, all the big companies, simple logos. So I wanted Yusuf loves Jacks. Hey, buddy. Hey, Joe. But yeah, I was eating at Shake Shack, if you're familiar with that restaurant, American restaurant, make really good burgers. And I was like, this is such a simple, nice logo. And I sent Shake Shack logo with my crappy logo. I'm like, make something in the middle. And he made that logo. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Oh man, it was a bit of a long-winded way to get there, and you might have to repeat some of that for questions coming up. But
sorry.
No, it was a good answer. You started out being like, "Oh, it's not much of a story," and then you had the most story to tell. So.
That's fair.
Yusuf likes talking. It's okay.
I love talking. Yeah. So shut me up if you need to.
Okay, so now the two of you. What were some names you threw around that didn't make the cut? Do you remember any of them?
Oh, no, that's kind of like what I just stuck with. There was no real anything else that I thought of.
We toyed with the idea of using some iteration of our name, Sexton Reptiles or CS Reptiles or something like that, but it was actually a friend of mine who does the helicopters pretty hardcore still, who made the crack in a private chat. You're the helicopter guy with snakes. So I didn't even make my name; it just stuck, and I went with it.
Yeah, that's
But
cool.
yeah, I didn't
That's
put a lot
awesome.
of effort into the name.
Yeah.
It's actually funny because I'm from Hamilton, and Hamilton's basically like the Detroit in terms of like industry. Where can't like Ontario is steel town. So I originally thought using that as part of a name would be cool, and I'm so fucking glad I didn't, because I've seen so many people try it, and it always just looks so dumb.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, where from Hamilton are you?
so right now I'm near Tim Hortons Stadium.
Okay.
But I'm from the West Mountain. That's where I was like where I grew up. That's
Yeah, I grew up in Hamilton.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Where in Hamilton did you grow up?
I don't know what the area is called, but all I know is I went to Gordon Price.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
I went to Gordon Price.
What? We might have clashed.
How old are you?
I am 29.
No. I mean, we would have been there at the same time, but
Were you there when they became a middle school, or?
no. So
Okay, so you left before that.
yeah.
Did you,
So
what to
I
Shadok?
went to Shadok. I think
Shadok,
the second
yeah.
last year they shipped people over there before they became a middle
Yeah,
school.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is so fucking weird.
Yeah, man. Let me guess, for Alan McNabb for high school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to McNabb. That is bizarre.
Just so you guys know, nobody has a clue what you're talking about.
I know, that's why I'm trying to not stay on this too long, but basically I had no idea that this guy went to the same elementary school.
Ironically, we've ended like right beside each other too, and I didn't know that information.
Literally
That's crazy.
one table separating us.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is a question that Discord actually suggested that I ask for these Discord features. And just sort of as a way to promote the Discord a little bit more for people that are watching. The last Discord feature got us a few new folks. So, let's hope that happens every time. Let's start with Dylan this time. How has the Discord benefited you, besides getting your own voice chat room to use whenever you feel like?
Well, I've kind of taken over that area of the Discord, the voice chat. It was a joke for a little bit that I kind of lived in the Discord, and then Kathleen just changed the Discord voice chat name to Dylan's Hangout spot, and it just kind of it never got changed back. And I
think she changed it to something else, and I changed it to the Hangout spot. But it was it was something to do with your name still, though.
I
can't remember what it was.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was like trying to be a little more silly, but yeah, no, she gets the credit for doing that.
But in terms of like what it's benefited, I feel like it's just like a way better just like group of people that you can talk to and ask real questions. And then it's just like, I've met pretty much like all of the friends that I have now I've met through the Discord. Or knew before, but
speaking of which, I tried to get Nicole to pop in to this, but she's not feeling great. But
yeah,
she was gonna try. Chris, same question to you.
A lot of the same, other than the stalking the voice chat.
Oh no,
we lost you. So.
We lost you.
He's gone.
He'll be back.
He dropped his phone.
I've been using Discord for years for gaming, talking to people. And then when I stumbled across, a couple of the Patreons and stuff that are using Discord for chats, I checked it out. And what's benefited for me is just meeting people that aren't my around the corner and, open some doors and conversations. Obviously, I knew who Chris was. I knew who Nicole was through Billy's videos. But getting to talk to you guys one-on-one, getting some animals from some of you. I've got an animal from Dylan. I've gotten animals from Nicole. And I never would have thought about importing animals from Canada if I hadn't talked to you guys all those times in Discord. So
and that's another one of those cool things, because I think a lot of people don't even realize kind of the ease that comes with import export. If you don't have somebody to kind of be there to be like, no, dude, like you do next to nothing. It's fine. Like, I feel like a lot of people almost find it to be.
I literally threw up a question on a random Monday or Tuesday and say, "Hey guys, I'm talking to you guys. What does it take to import an animal to the U.S.?
Yeah.
Do you guys have any experience?" an hour later, I was in DMs with Nicole, and an hour after that, I had ordered 3 animals from Nicole. So it's really not hard if you go through someone who knows what they're doing, like Nicole and Chris and Dylan. You know, these guys.
Nice animals,
It wasn't
too.
hard at all.
You say I know what I'm doing, but it was the first time I've ever done it.
Listen, I wasn't going to throw you under the bus, but if you're going to do it to yourself,
Let him throw himself
no,
under the
it went well. I've now gotten 2 shipments from Nicole and 1 from Dylan. Obviously all from Canada, and they went great. It's fine.
Awesome.
Awesome.
What about you, Yusuf? How has the Discord benefited you?
Honestly, when I first joined, I found it to be a really good way to network, to talk to people with similar minds. As we all know, the biggest struggle we all ball python breeders have is to talking to people about this crap. We could talk about it forever and ever, you know. And having my girlfriend, she hears me out, but after a certain point, it's like, all right, and like I talk to Dylan all the time, and it's boring. After a while, I'm just talking to the same person about the same thing. So it's cool to have like bigger facet of people to talk about that stuff. As of recent, I haven't really been on that much because of work and stuff, but it's awesome, man. Like I recommend, 100% recommend.
And you know what? Like we were already talking about Kathleen a bit earlier, but it's actually like, I would say the whole Discord even being there is kind of like 50% her thing. I had a Reptile War Discord, but I had no idea what I wanted to do with it. I had made it, and then it was just like sitting on my app, like, and I was the one in it, and that was it. And I didn't know what I wanted to do with it, if I wanted to do anything with it or whatever. And Kathleen was like, fuck it, just do something. Like, just start inviting the people that you want to talk to, right?
Yeah, man.
And that's what it kind of started out as. And then it was like, well, invite like other people you kind of know. And now it's like, fuck it, invite anybody in. Like, as long as you're willing to talk and listen and learn and chat, like, it's really cool. The thing that I like about the Discord, since everybody else has answered, is that you can go from fucking chatting about ball pythons to chatting about fucking any witch topic with all these fucking different people. And there's tons of people in there that have similar interests to other people in there that aren't ball pythons, and to see those interests coincide is really cool.
The meme one. Like, the meme one cracks me up. Like I don't see it for a few weeks, and I scroll through it. And
which one?
The meme.
Oh,
the meme tag. Yeah.
the meme in Get 4's one is pretty good.
Pete really goes ham on that one.
He's at home there.
He knows where he's most comfortable.
Yeah.
All right, this is going out to all of you, and I'm going to start with Yusuf this time since he's just been randomly jumbled back into the mix.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. So.
No, it's totally cool.
You dropped your phone. That's what happened.
It's honestly fine. How many clutches do you expect in 2022?
Hopefully less than last year. I don't know. I had 9 last year, and I'm trying to go really slow and not. I'm like your when we were talking yesterday about the amount of pairings you have, that just blows my mind. I don't want to have a high production until I have my own rats, produce my own rats. It's just a very expensive bill and work's taking over. But I think I'm shooting for 6 or 7.
Very
I have
nice.
I have about 13 pairings, but some of them I know are not going to go. So, and actually one of them is a breeding loan with Dylan. So keeping it small. I sold a bunch of proven breeders, so that I bought early on that are just a single gene. Got what I want out of it, and now I'm just kind of moving on, right?
That's kind of what you got to do, though, especially when if you're trying to keep your collection small, right? You kind of have to build up those breeder females, use them until you have something kind of to put in their place, and then move on and move up and upgrade.
Yeah. Every female I have right now, including holdbacks and adults, is either a visual recessive or a het. I've kind of narrowed it down to that. So,
and we're in the same boat, except for the odd. I think we have a couple like
powerful codom,
2 gene GHI females.
Oh, that's
you're never going to complain if you have an extra GHI kicking around to put a double recessive into or something, right?
But that's the problem, is that you're always going to keep saying that, and next thing you know, you got 60 animals.
But I mean, that the thing is, if they're useful, you you're gonna have to get to the point where either they're not useful compared to the stuff you could be doing, or they're still
I
useful.
understand.
They're still fucking useful. Then keep them around.
Yeah. No, I would keep GHI females.
Yeah. Well, and we had 3. I've already moved 1, so we're down to a huge GHI and then a GHI yellow belly.
Oh
like,
yeah, you don't let go.
You can't go wrong with that. But everything else is either visual het or visual het. Combos.
Have you made GHI yellow bellies?
I have not made any yet. No, I haven't. No.
There's one right next to you, right, Yusuf?
Yeah, in the rack. Yeah.
I have 3. I haven't made any.
Yeah, man. No, they're awesome. Like,
grab it.
Sorry?
Grab it.
Oh, you want me to show you? Okay.
It's literally right next to you.
Apparently, this is Dylan's show.
Oh, I know, right? Oh, she's in Shad.
You knew that was going to happen, Chris.
Of course. Here, I'll just grab her. Right
Dylan,
now.
this isn't the voice chat in the Discord, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh, I know.
Here, well,
All right. While he's doing that, Dylan, since he brought up that he has one of his pairings with you, how many clutches do you expect this year?
Between 5 to 10 ish. I kind of got screwed over. Well, not screwed over, but my banana pin male, he had a hemipene prolapse in November, and he was kind of going to do a lot of the work. So that's why it's 5 to 10 now. I don't know. There was some girls that he paired up before that actually Yusuf. We're doing that. Another pair he's helping me out with. He's going to lend me that Mojave asphalt. Right? Mojave asphalt.
Yeah.
And to pair up to a few girls that they were paired to the banana pin, but he's kind of, well, I'm retiring him, but I mean, he could breed in the future. He still has one hemipene. So, but I'm going to retire him anyway.
Did you get it amputated?
Yeah. So yeah, I took him to a vet, and they amputated one hemipene. They said he still has another one, and they said he can breed in the future. But I was like, there's no point.
I mean,
well,
I've heard of quite a few people successfully breeding single hemipene males. You just have to be really careful with overworking them. That's all.
Yeah, but
I mean, if you want to keep them to use them, you could. That's all I'm saying.
Especially with the male that you produce.
Yeah, well, he was my like one of my first snakes, so he's like I don't want to push him too far or have anything bad happen with him.
Isn't this the same animal that's like possibly like 15 other genes too, though? Like, don't you want to figure out what he actually is at some point?
Well, I got some babies from him that have that stuff, so that's where I'm gonna keep trying to figure that out. Like the super banana that he made, that I'm pretty sure is carrying whatever the banding gene is, and then I kept the banana OD from the last clutch he sired. It was one of the siblings that from the banana OD pin that Sexton got.
Oh, nice.
So I'm gonna figure it out through them.
Dude, I still remember when you were at Billy's showing us pictures of that clutch, and we were just like, dude, what the fuck? And then Billy started looking, and then he started running around like pulling open tubs. He was like, no, but look at this.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was a cool clutch you got from him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mr. Sexton, what about you? How many clutches this year? Hopefully.
Pairing 12 ball pythons and 3 carpets.
Yeah.
But I've 3 of those ball pythons. This will be the 3rd year in a row if they go. And 2 of the 3 aren't really building. They're at 12:30. One was at 5 point. I'm looking at the tubs. One was at 5.4 and one was at 7.5. So if they go, great. I'll keep an eye on them. Oh, Jesus. Nice, Pete. On point. On point.
Gotta call it.
And I couldn't even not put it up because he's super chatting it and everything.
Yeah, you have to now rename yourself on the chat to Discord Daddy.
I refuse. No, because Kathleen is
Or-
listed as the mom, and that makes it really weird. So
Yeah,
I
that would
refuse.
be weird.
I
Well,
refuse.
hey,
Weird.
it could be like a. Oh, Chris, are you okay, Chris?
I'm
That
getting there.
he got taken aback. He got called daddy. He doesn't know how to feel about it.
Oh no, I know how to feel about it.
Just embrace it. Embrace it, man.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, sorry, Chris, that interrupted your answer.
Oh, that's
That was
all
great.
right. That was the answer. I have 12 ball pythons, 3 carpets. All 3 carpets are first timers. So far, they act like they hate each other, so who knows? And then, like I said, 2 of the 12 ball python girls aren't really building much yet, so we'll see.
Okay, we're jumping right back to you, Chris, with this one, just because I'm trying to randomize this. Next question is, how and when did you get into the hobby? You kind of touched on when, but you can go ahead and.
Well, originally, I wasn't the kid that grew up with snakes in the backyard. I was the guy with the pistol shooting the frogs in the backyard, not collecting them. So I discovered snakes in middle school. Couldn't have them at home. Parents said no. They let me have a green iguana but not a snake.
What?
Yeah, long story. And then when I moved out on my own and graduated high school in '97, did the college thing, moved out on my own. First thing I did was went out and bought a Burmese python. Female Burmese python before I even paid my first month's rent. So, and then obviously, like all college, got done with school, fell on my face, had to go run home with tail between my legs, and my parents wouldn't bring the animals with me. So that led to a hiatus from '01 until then I met my wife, and we had kids pretty quick, and got back to them in 2017, and now I have 104 animals in this room.
What's the breakdown of that? Roughly, you don't have to give me facts.
It's about 50-60% ball pythons. There's 40. There's about 55 ball pythons in that corner. And then I've got 26 adult carpets, some grow up carpets. I have 4 king trees, 2 Amazons, 2 scrubs, Hypo jungle, boa constrictor, and then I have 2.2 super dwarf retics.
Wow.
So
That's
it's
awesome.
pretty,
How old are they?
and I have the prerogative, the token king snake to eat the leftovers. My oldest retic is that guy, and he is 4. And then the youngest I have she'll be a year in May. She's still over here in a V18, in a V27 rather.
How big is your 4-year-old?
If there wasn't a bin of rats next to me, I'd get him out. When we're done with this,
No, just a guesstimation.
He's probably, a medium rat's a big meal.
Oh wow, okay.
He's about 6.5 feet long.
Wow, that's awesome.
And that's a super dwarf?
Well, he's actually super dwarf cross. He's, the whole blood. He's 25% Jampea, which is super dwarf, and then he's 37.5% blood. Excuse me, 27% Kaltoa, 37.5% Jampea, which is one of the dwarf localities. So combined, he's over 50%, but it's a mix of dwarf and super dwarf. So technically, he's a dwarf cross. But his mother was from one of Garrett Hartle's smaller Kalatoa females, and they tend to favor the size of the female. So even though he's only 25% Kalatoa, this is a 4-year-old ready to breed male, and a medium rat's a big meal.
That's fucking
He's
awesome.
not huge. He's all over my Instagram. I love that animal. It's hands down the favorite personality of any snake in this room. When there's
I would love a retic, but I think that would be the max size retic I would want. So I'd be playing a pretty big gambling game unless I bought one already full grown.
Or just
the girls are higher percentage, so they'll probably, but they're female though, so they're probably still going to be 9-10 foot animals, but they're higher percentage than he is, so they'll stay smaller by comparison. And he'll keep growing. He'll probably top out somewhere in the 7 to 8 foot range.
That's right.
But his growth rate has dramatically slowed.
For me, I'd probably not get a retake just for the sake of the smell of the pee, man. I smelled it once and it just yeah.
Okay,
they make a lot more mess than ball pythons, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yusuf, do you want to answer this question? Because you kind of touched on it already.
I think I took like half of it. So.
Dylan,
what about you, man? When did you get into the hobby?
Well, it kind of all started when I was a kid, and by kid I mean like literally like I was watching Barcheck videos back in 2008, like just when he first was posting, and watch a bunch of his videos, a bunch of other people on YouTube that were going around doing stuff around that time. But parents would just never say yes to letting us get a snake. They would always just be like, if you ever bring a snake home, it's gonna die. Like, they're just gonna kill it and throw it out or something. So their attitude is like completely flipped on that now. But I had never had a snake at home. So I had to wait until I moved out, and I was actually living in a frat house. I got 2 snakes. We were there for a little bit, and then I moved into this place back in like halfway through 2019, and that's kind of when everything blew up.
That's awesome. Funny story that I actually don't talk about very often. When I first started keeping snakes, I still lived with my mom, and she was terrified of snakes. So the gamble I took was that if I brought them in, she wouldn't be willing to take them out because she was so afraid of them. And I was right. So I got really lucky there because I had quite a few animals. I would not suggest doing that, though. I feel
my mom would have kicked me out of the house instead.
I feel so bad for the garbage I put my mom through. She is such a nice, sweet lady. And I am just a piece of garbage human. But no, that's legitimately how I kept ball pythons. The first time I was ever in this many, many, many moons ago. I had my homemade melamine racks that barely stood because I am not good at woodworking. And yeah, I had like a bumblebee and a pinstripe and like, I remember I got a Mojave het pied male back then. I paid like $3,000 for it. And then never did anything with it because by the time it was ready to breed, I was already done. Out of my mom's basement in her furnace room. That's where I put them because they would be like out of her sight, and she would actively avoid the area because the snakes were there. So, I mean, it worked out, but at the same time, it's kind of a shitty thing to do. Okay,
yeah, it worked.
I mean, it did work. All right, let's jump back over to Yusuf. What's the reason you do this?
So much fun, man. Like, I have other hobbies that I done way before ball pythons. I like I'm a guitarist. I've been playing guitar for about 15 years. And I got into audio engineering and audio production maybe 10 years ago. And actually a little earlier than that, and that was my hobby and my escape kind of. And I got a lot of that the serotonin rush you get, right, from just like you doing these hobbies. And I found that ball pythons gave me a better serotonin rush. And like nothing felt as rewarding as seeing an ovulation and a female on eggs and seeing all these hopes and dreams, so to speak, happening in front of you. Like I was talking about dreamsicles and how I wanted to make a dreamsicle one day. Like, this is the season. I have a double het dreamsicle female that's right about to ovulate, and like the excitement. That's probably the key word, excitement, man. And it's a good business avenue, of course, but it's the excitement, man. If you look at the money only, it's not fun. You gotta.
It's really funny, because I've said this to a few people, but I feel like ball pythons are the only. It's the only patient hobby that impatient people can do.
Yeah. Taught me patience. That's actually another thing.
It's really funny because every single person I talk to when I'm starting out, I'm just like, oh, you just gotta have patience. They're like, I'm not patient. Like, you're gonna fucking learn to be. Like, you have a fucking choice. But at the same time, it's also when you get to a certain point of like breeding, it's like one small reward after another, right? Like when you start pairing, your first little boost of serotonin or whatever, you get that pairing, right? You see that first lock between your two animals you really want
Oh
to breed.
man,
First lock, you're like, fuck yeah. You
just
get a
put
few more locks, your male keeps eating, things go well, you watch her grow, then you see that ovulation, and that's the next one. You're like, oh fuck yeah. Then you get the pre-lay shed, you're like, oh, it's this close. And all you're really doing is counting down to count down again.
Yeah.
But you can't tell your brain that. So yeah, then all of a sudden you see the eggs, and fucking seeing those eggs, all of a sudden it's real now.
oh man,
You got that 60 days, but then even once those eggs hatch, you
60 days of
another little countdown. Now you're waiting until they fucking shed.
yeah,
Then you open that egg.
Then when they
and then when
when
they
they shed,
they
then
don't
when
eat.
they eat, and then when they
Exactly.
have the second
So-
shed, when do they start growing? Yeah.
It's great because it gives you all these little things to look forward to that once you're kind of in the process of it, doesn't happen too far apart. Aside from the like initial pairing to ovulation stage, like the biggest gap there is your 2-month gap, right? You're waiting for your eggs to hatch, but for the
Yeah.
most part, like that's a lot of cool stuff. And then when you
Yeah.
have eggs, you're just sitting there like, holy fuck, I have eggs.
And yeah, another thing that now to add on to that is I'm a person that enjoys learning and like being educated about things. And when you start, man, like you can look at all the videos you want of how people pull eggs and you know nothing until you get that clutch, until you get those hatchlings and they shed and you go through the struggle of trying to get your first clutch to eat. And sometimes you'll get lucky and that first clutch will be good, but for the most part, that first clutch is always a pain to get started and then you'll learn from that. And then in the next season, you'll have all these mental notes of, okay, this is what I did, this is what I should do. Keep in mind, I did get help myself, which is not wrong. I credit Nicole Lyons and Peter Williams a lot for guiding me through a lot of stuff. But after I'm going into my 4th season, and I feel like I know a lot that 4 years ago me would have never known. Would have been like, wow, no way that I know this much. So
right, that's all part of becoming a successful breeder, though, right? It doesn't all have to be stuff that you've experienced firsthand. Like to be able to take somebody else's experience and make sure that you don't have to deal with any bullshit because you're using their experience isn't a bad thing.
yeah.
Like that's why we're here. And actually, this is a great plug for the Discord. That's a great reason to have resources like that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If my terrible first experience with a clutch of eggs, which terribly desiccated, barely survived all the way through incubation, like some of them hatched, they were all fucked up because the eggs were so fucked the whole incubation. Like they none of them made it. Like it was so bad. This is my first clutch ever. I'm going back like over 10 years ago. If I can use that story to tell one person how to avoid losing their clutch, it's helped the hobby, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And now if everybody can do that for one person,
we would continue thriving. I mean, we are thriving, but
exactly though. It's great, right? I don't know. I went off on a tangent as well.
no, you got a
Bruce
point.
is rubbing off on me.
Hey man,
Not a good thing.
hey man, I like talking, but I like talking about things that I'm passionate about.
And that I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's all that matters, right? Like if you love it, you should be able to talk about it all day.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Chris, what's the reason you do this?
Well, I mean, I genuinely enjoy the animals. I love interacting with them. I'm the weird guy that talks to them, even though I know they can't hear me and they're not going to talk back. I'm just that guy. And then my daughter has fallen in love with them as well. So it's become something that we do together. If you guys, any of you seen my Instagram lives, she's always there with me. She'll climb into the 4-foot cages and scrape urates out of the corners of the carpets. And she'll hold the ball pythons and the baby carpets while I'm cleaning. And it's just something for us to do together. And when both of us are bored, don't have something to do, let's go do snake room stuff. So it scratches that animal. Everyone loves to see the eggs hatch. Everyone loves to have those successes. But I'd say 50% of the fun in this room for me is doing it with the family.
The only group A I have is Paul, so it's fine. Unless you consider Mark, because he's really into my hands for some reason.
Yeah,
That's really
you
weird.
and Mark is an interesting conversation. That's a different podcast.
Yeah, I think this is the wrong website right now.
Yeah.
What about you, Dylan?
Yeah, I was always just like the dinosaur kid, bringing home the dinosaur books and just looking at the pictures, not even reading what they are. Like just started watching the Crocodile Hunter, all that stuff. Watched a ton of YouTube from when Barchek started posting videos, and when I started seeing ball pythons and just like how crazy you can get with them and all the genetics that you can mix together. I was just like, okay, I want to do this. Like, this is what I want to do. And that's kind of where it started.
I don't think there's ever going to be a wrong answer to this. You know what I mean? Like, even if somebody were to look me dead in the eye and be like, I do it only for the money, I'd be like, you know what? I kind of get it. Because, like, if you're willing to put the money into ball pythons to be making a return, if you want to pump that kind of cash into our hobby, because that's not going to be a small amount. You know what I mean? Like, for somebody to come in and start making money like their first breeding year, and I'm talking like serious money, you've got to put in like, it's got to be more than $250,000. Like,
yeah, it's a huge initial investment.
It's gotta
and it's
be,
a lot
right?
of time. No one's successful in making money in ball pythons, no matter how they got into it, without the time investment.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, no matter what somebody tells me, if they're just like, oh, I just bought in because I wanted to make money. Like, fuck, dude, if you put $250,000 into the hobby I love, like, fucking good on you, dude. Thank you. You just fucking paid off that guy's fucking mortgage for 3 months, and you fucking funded that guy's new project, and you fucking helped fund our ARS's new fucking design. You know what I mean? Like, how could there's no wrong answer. I love it. There was a
that
question.
was a good question. The ultrasound question.
Yeah, sorry, I lost it. Okay, so I want to touch on this because I've actually had a few people message me the past couple days, and I don't know if there was maybe a video on YouTube or somebody I don't know what's going on, but people have seemingly been interested in purchasing their ultrasounds very recently. So I use the Keixen KX5600 with the linear 7.5 hertz probe. Make sure you get a linear probe. If you do not get a linear probe, you will not be ultrasounding ball pythons.
You can. It's just it's very difficult to pick.
Yeah, well,
you gotta stop them.
You can. It's not going to be a good time for you.
You're for what a linear probe costs. Order a linear probe.
Not only that, ultrasounding even with a linear probe at times is challenging as fuck. So take that information as you want.
To add on ultrasounds, actually, I saw a video of Kevin McCurley ultrasounding underwater to get a good contact. Like,
you don't have to use the gel. Any medium will work. I know plenty of people who hold the snake's tail underwater and just don't use
underwater in a tub. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chris, do you have an ultrasound?
I do. I have the Contact.
Contact one. I was going to ask.
600. Yep, it does everything the Keixen does. The screen's probably not as high resolution.
It's a lot. The screen's also considerably smaller, but
yes.
That said, all you're doing is seeing if there's follicles in a snake.
Yeah. It still has the same 0 to 65 millimeter width, and you can zoom in, zoom out. I've got the same 7.5 hertz linear probe. It just doesn't have a freeze pedal, and they don't make one for it.
Oh, wait.
So I got really good.
You should be able to. Does
There's
it
a
have a
freeze button.
connection for something?
Not the contact.
That sucks. I was going to say you should be able to find something that would work, but if it doesn't even have
USB.
a connection,
Does it have a
I
USB
found something
port?
that works. My 15-year-old daughter. Push the button.
I use Nick.
I've also gotten pretty good at holding the probe. But I've trial and error learned it's best to ultrasound the girl. If you don't have to, if they're already curled up laying right, I don't even pick them up so they don't start
Don't
running.
move them. Yeah.
And you can just use one hand and hit the button yourself. But usually, because again, I do so much of this with my daughter, I say, "Hey, Madison, I'm ultrasound some girls. You want to come?" And on a rare occasion, my youngest son will come out and do it too. So it's not a big deal.
Have you gotten good though at the ultrasound with the hand, pin the snake with the elbow, like slow reach over the ultrasound to hit the button? Because that's
No,
what I do most of the time.
If the snake's running, I yell for my daughter. I've not tried to headlock a snake to ultrasound it.
I've had to a couple times.
So note to self: get a foot pedal.
Yeah, that's. Listen,
I forego
it's
or I
huge.
forewent the foot pedal, thinking that I was like saving myself some money, and
No.
don't do that. First of all, to buy it separately is fucking highway robbery. So
Yep.
buy it with the unit when you get it.
Yeah.
Secondly, you'll want it. Yes.
That said, everything else about that contact I love. It sees the follicles well. It's reliable. It holds a charge. I think I've charged it twice in a year. The battery holds really well. It boots up fast. It's easy to use. It doesn't have 5,000 settings and dials and knobs and stuff you can get confused with. It with some practice, it works pretty good. And I don't regret buying it. I just wish it supported a freeze pedal.
I don't know why this is so funny to me.
I hope I talk to my wife more than my snakes. That's an odd one.
Oh, this is great. This is great.
My wife doesn't like the snakes. She's got one green tree that she likes. Of all the animals in the room that she likes one of the green trees. But she does not like the rest of them.
Let's not start that. Yeah.
Are we gonna get into it? We could get into
Hey,
it.
I mean, it's proven, so it's not the same gene. So
what was that? I got Chris. What?
I'm just jumping around. I had something I wanted to. There we go. This is what I want to put on the screen after the Stranger Mahogany thing before we talked about it. Good question too. We'll start with Dylan.
Okay.
What gene do you want to add the most to your collection?
banana.
It's add, not make more of what I already have an abundance of. I don't know, because there's a couple that I want. But I'm thinking Desert Ghost is probably the next gene that I definitely have to get into.
Yeah, I'm shocked you don't have any yet.
Yeah.
You have to get DG.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really need DG. DG is fucking necessary.
Yeah. No, it is.
Yusuf, what about you, man?
Let's be controversial. Not Monsoon.
I get it, dude. I'm in the project and I get it. So
okay, so so a gene that I do not have.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably say Monarch.
That's a very good answer.
Yeah,
very good answer. And
Monarch.
Chris, what about you?
That's a hard one.
There
are projects that I want to do down the road, Monarch being one of them, but I'm not really thinking about adding genes right now. I've got 9 recessive projects I got to work on before I worry about adding any more.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I counted how many recessive projects I have, and I counted like double recessives as separate from.
Oh, I'm not talking about the double.
No, this
shit.
is the problem.
It's
But then
compounding.
I counted all the different projects I had. That oh my god, it made me sick.
Yeah.
Because of how many different. So I have all the base recessive projects, and then how many double recessive projects I've started without even getting all that much of the base recessive. Like it made me feel sick to my stomach.
I'm right there with you, dude. I am looking at. I have double head ultra clowns, double head hypo tri-stripe, double het G-stripe Scent Ultramel. I have double het Ultramel Hypo, double het Clown Pied, DG Hypo.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, it's
How
a
much
bit
rack
of
space do you have?
You're gonna have
I
like
just told
300
you I have
animals.
56. I have 56 ball pythons. That's the. They're just all.
But
I was
I've
going
got
down that
one
path.
normal.
you're gonna need a hell of a lot more rack space for that.
I was going down that path, and luckily Nicole told me, "Hey, now they're
Yeah.
30 or 40 or 50. In about 3 years, they're going to be well over 200." I'm like,
Yeah.
shit. I thought about it. I'm like, whoa. So I started changing my ways and focusing on specific projects. For me, I'd rather just like do that instead. That each their own.
Well, first of all, disclaimer. I happen to like what I do for a living, so I don't ever plan to pay my bills with this room. I just like the room to be self-sufficient. So just before I say that, go into this.
That's the fucking goal, man. Too many people are so worried about like making it a living.
Don't
Be
get me
happy
wrong.
that pays
You
for
you
itself,
have a good
guys.
clutch and get a little influx of cash. That's great. But I'm just happy that so far the room's fairly self-sufficient. But I refuse to allow the ball pythons to take more than that corner. They can never outgrow those 3 racks. And the way I plan to handle that is I plan to take some double hets and replace them with either ideally double visuals. Let's be real, that's a long shot.
Yeah.
But a visual that's het for something else too. Start stepping them up. So less double hets and more hets that are single het for something else. I've got a Hypo G-stripe female breed into a pastel ultramel. So there's triple hets. Talk about a lot of holdback potential there.
Yeah.
So the goal is to replace the single visual doubles and start, so instead of having, pastel double het ultramel clown. Hopefully, even if I don't hit the ultra clown, can I hit an ultramel that's 66% het ultramel, a clown or something, and start replacing some of the animals. I've already done a little of that. You guys are talking about females with visuals and hets, and I think I've only got 2 over here that aren't het for something or are a super.
Mm-hmm.
I've got but it's going to be tough. But the good news is there are no pairings on this wall that are just money clutches. There are some that will make me money, and I know it, but that's not the purpose of the clutch, to make money.
Yeah.
And I'll grow slow. They'll have little booms. I mean, I've got like 200 baby slots between the 4 racks and the 2 that are in the garage I haven't put together yet.
Wow.
So I have room for the babies and the holdbacks to hang on to them long enough to decide what's what. I'm hoping I don't get crushed by the odds and no visuals in my double het pairings next year, but hopefully it'll just continue to upgrade the animals. And I never want to have more than 20 breeding females, not ball pythons, because I've also got 26 carpet pythons and 4 2.2 retics and 2.2 green trees and 1.1 Amazon tree boas. And these are all animals that I love and enjoy interacting with, that I want to give a shot at breeding too. And and I'm limited by this room. I have a very understanding wife. She loves me and she's tolerant of it, but I had to beg, borrow, and steal to get this 18 by this. I think the usable spaces room is 13 by 21. And that's a good size room for a hobbyist. I'm not saying it's not, but that's all I got. There isn't any anymore. Cusco sent me this 9-foot scrub python, and I had every intention of quarantining in the house, doing the right thing, even though I knew where it came from. You never know. And she wasn't having it. There was no, you ain't having a big angry snake in my house, even though it's not angry. You've seen Cusco's scrubs are not angry. So this is all the room I got. So the ball pythons are going to be slow. I know it will take several attempts to hit some of these double and triple visuals, and I'm okay with that. Just not looking to have 200 ball pythons.
And you know what? It's funny because a lot of people are selling other people on the idea that if you want to make double recessives, if you want to make triple recessives, if you don't have 200, 300, 400 snakes, it's never happening.
Well,
you know
it's
what
an
I mean?
odds game.
Absolutely.
But
what I'm saying is, like, you can play with the same pair year over year and just pray. You know what I mean? Like, you can have 2 double hets It might take you 5 years to hit a double visual, or you can hit 3 in your first clutch. Like, you don't need 10 animals in a project to make that double visual and to, keep moving forward. If you only have space to play around with a male and a female double het, then just do that. If that's what you want to do it.
To add to that, actually, so one of my favorite projects, probably in all ball pythons, is the Hypo Clown project. I'm obsessed with Hypo Clown and what you can do with it. The way I made it, so now I actually have females, visual hypo that are het clown. I made all these females. I didn't do visual to visual. What I did is I had a visual female, visual hypo female, and I got a clown het hypo. 2 animals that are very affordable. And she was a Mojave, really cool looking Mojave hypo female, and the male clown het hypo. I put them together. I made 4 visuals, and I held them back. They're females, and they're beautiful. And I'm going to build off of that. So now, next year, I'm going to buy a very powerful visual clown male that's het for hypo. That's where I'm going to sink most of my money in. So now you've got, I can't, oh,
You're
okay,
telling the secrets of how to do double recessives cheap and well.
Yeah.
These are it's true. Anyway, continue. Sorry, but then people are not listening. I suggest you pay attention. This is how you make projects like that work on a much more affordable scale.
But then the way like the female, I bought her. She was actually a breeder sized female. She was actually a little skinny. Dylan was with me when I got her, and she was like 1,200 grams. I let her take the season off because it was just starting, and I fed her, and I got the male. The male was already relatively good size, and he cost me. Both of them did barely it cost me $1,000. So I put them together. Yeah, and then I put them together, and I have these great females. And now, next season, a lot of the stuff that I produce that I don't want to keep and I sell, I'm going to take all that money and buy a very powerful $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 male, multi-gene codom clown male.
I hope the other two don't mind. I'm going to keep the conversation on this just for 1 second. So did you get any offers on any of those hypo het clown females?
Many.
What would you say the average offer was?
The average offer was about between 12 to 15.
So, guys, this is exactly what I was just saying about how to do stuff like this properly. Yusuf just mentioned he spent $1,000 on the pair, but because he bought the right pair and obviously got very lucky on the odds.
Yes.
You essentially made what would have been a, let's say, $3,000 to $6,000 clutch.
I'd say about $4,000, yeah, give or take, yeah.
It could have gone either way, like really good or bad too, though, right? Like
exactly.
There's the middle ground, but then you can always swing real hard the other way too. But that's how you do it. You especially it's funny because hypo itself right now isn't worth a ton alone. Like in certain combos, it still is absolutely. But you could probably pick a breeder hypo female up for what and today $300-$400.
Yeah.
If you waited and you looked. But how many people are doing hypo clown stuff, hypo pied stuff? If you had the right male for that $400 female, all of a sudden that $400 female is worth a hell of a lot more than $400 to you than to the person that thought she was only worth $400.
Exactly.
It's crazy how this hobby works, right? You can literally make yourself deals like that by buying the right males for that.
Yeah. And it wasn't even the money. It wasn't money. I was looking for a very specific.
I wasn't trying to say it was
I didn't even
money, but
I didn't even look at the female and said, "Wow, that's a great price. I'm going to buy her." I was like, "That is exactly the one I want." But let me see what the picture. I saw the picture of this female, and I was like, "Holy crap, she is gorgeous." And I was like, "What is he doing with it?" And I asked him what his pairings were, and he was putting a yellow belly something male into her and making hets. And I'm like, "That's not how you use a female like that." That's kind of my formula. Everything I make is crisscrossing. Visual recessive that carries a het to a visual recessive female, or a visual recessive female that and then they both have the same common het. So you can make a visual that's double het. So like that's Will Moreau's right there. That's some Will Moreau's wisdom. But
this is the thing: when you take knowledge that you've learned from many
Yeah.
different people, and you can apply that before you get to the point where you would have had to learn that yourself, like the benefits are fucking massive. They're huge.
That's gotta talk to the right people. Yeah.
That's why things like the Discord, the different Patreons that are out there. There's like Billy's, Will's, Justin's. Like there's a bunch of them now, right? Like wherever you get that information from, like just soak it in, because even if it doesn't seem like it's worth the money or the time investment to watch videos such as this or whatever, I promise it is. For this exact reason, the amount of firsthand knowledge that you can receive that will help you jump over these little, I don't even want to call them hurdles, but they're almost just like road bumps that most breeders should come across on their own that, you can just skip over.
I will say some people want to go put themselves out there and ask, but I feel like some people are very reluctant to ask a lot of the more successful breeders for help, right? Because they feel intimidated, like, oh, what if they don't, what if they give me the cold shoulder, or I'm too nervous to bother them and whatnot, Honestly, ask, like, for example, for Dylan and I, Nicole helped us a lot. So I bought a breeder female from Nicole years ago. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know that and we just kind of talked every now and then, and we became good friends. And then she started giving me advice. And then she had a snake for sale that Dylan was interested in. Was it a het clown or something? And I told him, hey, I think Nicole's selling one, and he picked it up, and then he became buddies with Nicole. And then because he actually engaged with her, right? And got that information, and like there was a common denominator. A lot of people are too scared to approach, and you got to take the plunge and do it. Like I approached you about this Discord, so
it's funny too though, because I feel like a lot of people get put off, and I don't want this to come across the wrong way. So I'm going to try to pick my words very carefully, but I'm also not just going to, I'm just not going to stop talking to think them through. So we're kind of going to just get whatever comes out of my mouth here. Some of the biggest breeders, I can definitely see where that intimidation lies in just reaching out. If that makes sense. And I don't mean that based on their personality or anything like that, guys. I'm not shitting on anybody. I'm not saying anything bad about anybody. But I understand when you're thinking about approaching people with hundreds of thousands of followers and YouTube subscribers. Like, I get it. I get the thought of, oh, like I'm fucking nobody. I just made my Instagram. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that, but first and foremost, there are a lot of people outside those like top tier, whatever you want to call them, like head of the hobby breeders that you can reach out to that know
more.
I wouldn't say more, but they definitely don't have less valuable information.
Yes.
If that makes sense. But on top of that, like every one of us, regardless of how many views we have on YouTube or Facebook or fucking whatever, like we're all still fucking people, right?
Yeah.
The first time I reached out to Justin, and I'm just gonna say his name, like I had almost nobody following our fucking. I don't even know if I had my Instagram yet. And he still took the time to reply to me. He talked to me. He fucking, you know what I mean? Like, we're all just people. Guys, if you want to ask somebody a question, just ask it. The worst thing they can do is either not answer you or be a dick. And if they're a dick, not to fucking talk to them again. Like, good on you. You just learned a valuable lesson.
Exactly.
But the majority of this hobby, especially now, is very helpful. I think a lot of people, if they're not willing to help you themselves or not able to help you themselves, they're at least willing to point you in the right direction.
And also people that are actually going out of their way not to help people and keep things a secret are actually, they're harming themselves. As a business, they're harming themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can tell you there's at least 6, 7, 8 sales that I've gotten just from random people asking really like noob questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't going to judge because I look at myself, I look at them, I'm like, man, that was me asking people this really stupid, like, I'm not going to say stupid, entry level questions. And
it's funny that you say stupid. I'm only interjecting because this is important.
how dare you?
It seems stupid to somebody that
Yeah.
knowledge is a burden, right?
Yeah.
So because we know a lot about the hobby that we love, for somebody to come in and ask a question like that, it seems almost like I can't. Like, it almost seems kindergarten. It almost seems like, oh, you should know that before coming to me. But
To an extent.
no, and I'm not. I'm not presenting what I'm trying to say the right way. But what I mean is, like, it almost seems like, oh, how doesn't anyone know this? But it's because once you get to a certain level, that like all of us, we almost forget that there was a time when we all had to fucking Google this shit too, or go to the pet store and ask fucking PetSmart's fucking reptile expert what heat bulb to buy. Like, everybody's been there in some capacity, right? And if this individual or these people or whatever it is have decided to be smart, this is the worst part. If these people have decided to be smart enough to come to somebody that would actually know how to answer their question and give them proper advice,
they're doing the right thing.
Yeah. Who is anybody to judge them for not taking all the bullshit advice first, learning that they're wrong, and then gaining the right answer,
Yes.
right? Like, it's
I always tell anyone. Oh, go ahead, Dylan. I know you're gonna say.
Well, I was gonna say it's people have like the mentality of, well, I had to suffer, so I don't want to give anybody else a hand. They gotta go through the trial by fire. I had to do it. They gotta do it too mentality, which is just not a good mentality.
That was this hobby 10 to 15 years ago, though.
The sad thing is, though, on the surface you're suffering, but at the end of the day, do you know what's actually suffering? The animals.
The animals and the entire hobby. If you don't give somebody information and they fuck up and they feel so bad about it that they leave, they're not helping anything. They're not helping the hobby. All it's doing is adding one more person to the list of people who don't like our hobby. Mm-hmm. And we don't need more of that.
No. It's pretty much unwelcome now anyways. If we look at the way things are, there are so many people out in this hobby right now that produce really cool animals. You don't have to go to, again, a top tier breeder like Justin or Ozzy to get amazing animals. There are a lot of breeders I don't know, you don't know, like that are making some amazing stuff and actually do a great job.
There's a few breeders out there that I didn't even know of at the beginning of 2021 that are now some of my favorite breeders on the planet.
Yeah.
I didn't even know who they were just over a year ago.
Yeah. So you don't really have to, if you're going to be a prick of a person, or you're not going to, I'm going to be honest. Like, if you're not going to be a good person, and at least, okay, if you're busy, you don't want to give people time of day, just don't ignore them or be nice, is what I'm trying to say. Make our hobby look good. And in turn, you will look good. Your business will do good. That's just my point on it. So.
I feel bad because I feel like Chris has been not talking for a while. So, next question, Mr. Chris.
Why are you feeling bad because I'm not talking? I'm sitting here listening to the good advice.
We can get back to the good advice too. We'll just keep it all going. But first and foremost, my fridge is about 10 feet away and I need to go grab a couple other drinks. So we're going to start on this question.
I'm on you with that one too.
And then I will come back. But what are some of the main projects you're working on? I know you touched on double recessives and stuff like that just a couple of minutes ago. But what are you most excited about? Which of those are the ones that you're focusing on heavily?
I'm pretty deep into Ultramel. I'm pretty invested in Ultramel. Of all the recessives projects I have the most Ultramel and Ultramel het in both single and double het animals. I am efforting towards Hyper Ultramel clowns. That's the end game on my Ultramel project. Hypo Ultramel clowns. Hopefully a pinstripe Hypo Ultramel clown. I'm working pretty hard into True Ghost stuff. I bought a 1.2 trio of Hypo Black Exanthic animals from Nicole. So I'm, there's some OD in there, there's some Hypo, and there's Fire in there, and there's Pastel in there as well. So it could be some nice True Ghost combos.
Chris has got
And
some
I'm
mood
also
lighting going.
pretty. What's that?
It's like Chris has got some mood lighting going.
Oh, here he goes. And then on the Kodam side of things, I am working acid pretty strong. If I can get my damn male to breed this year. That's the other thing people always talk about. Yeah, investing in the right male is one thing, but what do you do when he's 3 years old and doesn't want to breed?
And that, it's really funny because nobody ever talks about, everybody talks about how quick males can breed and how early they could potentially breed and how lucky you could get if that male breeds at 350 grams and all of a sudden you have a clutch like 2 months after it was born. But nobody talks about the ones that don't. That happens.
Nope.
You can get that.
Talks.
You can get like 5 male backups like Chris does.
5, dude. How many clowns did I tell you I have?
You said like 3 or 4. I don't know.
I said I bought the 3 I told you about as backups. I didn't even say those were all my backups.
Oh my god.
No,
yeah,
so I have
backup males.
I think I have 9 in total clown males, and 4 of those are backups.
I'm learning that this season. Backup males are a must.
So last year we got fucking killed because we overran 2 of our males, and they just stopped wanting to lock. They were like, "No, fuck this!" Like, no, no.
I find
tapping out, coach.
I find the best way to do that is to like allocate a time frame of when you breed to avoid that. So start at this time, end at this time, regardless of the outcome, unless you have some females that are showing some promising growth.
So here's my problem. Last year, especially, I started noticing a very, very weird occurrence, and it happens a lot more often than I think has been made obvious or made overly public. I had a few different times when females would go from 25 to 28 millimeters to ovulation under 20 days.
Wow.
And it happened more than one time. I had 3 last year, and I've already had 1 this year. Wow.
Were they eating at 20 millimeters?
No, they went off food super early. They went off food at like 13, 14. And
wow.
I even checked my ultrasound against other animals that I knew were further along and haven't ovulated, and was still measuring like 34, 35, 36 millimeter follicles. Because at first I was like, okay, my calibration's off. It's just showing me the wrong thing, right? But anybody that ultrasounds knows that like when you see the follicles on the screen, you can kind of tell based on what you're looking at, right? You can see eggs versus follicles. Like you can tell once you get used to what you're looking at. And so the female that I had this year do it was a Enchi Collider possible asphalt. And she actually just ovulated for us 3 days ago, 4 days ago. But she was at 27 millimeters, and this was written on her tub. 27 millimeters on December 10th. 4 days ago was January 3rd.
Wow.
So the thing is, I've now gotten to a habit of when I see any animal at 20 millimeters or over, they need a male now. Because that has happened to me now 4 times, and I refuse to miss anything if I can. So last year, when I started realizing this issue, I had a few different females that I would ultrasound for the first time. They'd be at like 21, 22. And I'd be like, oh, fucking perfect. Get a male in, got a lock right away because she's building, everything's good. Take the male out, both of them keep feeding. Great, great, great. Female goes off food. And then randomly, the female would reabsorb.
Yep.
So I'm starting to believe that the earlier you get your first lock in on like you got to watch for follicular growth, obviously. But the earlier that first lock is, the better. And you want to get your 3 to 4 locks in before 25 to 28, 29 mil. That's what I'm starting to believe.
Mm. Well, I don't palpate. I don't ultrasound. I just palpate. So.
Well, palpating is obviously a lot different. I did it for a long, long time. And I still palpate. Sometimes
I love it.
Sometimes getting the ultrasound out is not worth it. It's not worth the effort.
I just suck at it, so that's why I invest in the ultrasound. I could, unless the animal's ready to drop her eggs, I can't feel them.
Yeah, you really gotta go.
Fingers or what? But.
You really gotta, actually gotta press down. I haven't found the reason to, but sooner or later, when I have a powerful male and I plan to put into 5+ females, you have to use ultrasound so that way you're not killing the male.
See, now the thing about that is too,
they all are ready to go at the same time.
But now we are at a point where we have a few males that, like, if I lost any of them, it would be devastating. You know what I mean? Like some of the males that we have, the money we paid for them is just it's all, more than my brain wants to compute is those males are worth, if that makes sense. So obviously you don't want them to get sick. You don't want them to go off food, all that kind of stuff. But now, based on what I've found while ultrasounding, I'm learning that everything I've been kind of told up till now is wrong. So now I need to get these males in for locks earlier, pay more attention, and essentially and potentially get them more frequent locks in a smaller time frame, right? So all it's doing is making things tighter and tighter. Like, I thought getting an ultrasound would help me maximize how much use I could get out of these males. And all it's done is made me paranoid and actually limited how much I'm using my males.
But there's both sides of that. You need the ultrasound to know what the female is doing so that you can maximize the use of your male, yes. But if you see a girl that's stalled or growing really quickly, that's going to change what you do with that male.
Mm-hmm. And that actually happened to me. That happened to me actually a month ago. I had a pastel banana spider het clown female. She hadn't been eating well. She ate like once every 3 weeks. And she was fairly skinny, like not like looking bad, but like she wasn't okay.
We lost him.
Anyway, she wasn't looking skinny. She wasn't the body size I would hope for in a female that was building. That makes sense, right? So I hadn't even thought about pairing her. She's never laid for me. Never thought about pairing her. Well, we were just doing our I do it every 2 months, the bi-monthly ultrasound of our entire collection. And I checked her and she was at 28 millimeters. Banana pastel spider het clown female. So I immediately threw in the super pastel leopard fire clown. And no, she was done. She just had no interest, and I lost that for this year. Yep, just missed out on banana clown combo females. That was awesome. Oh well. Dylan, since Yusuf has
I was gonna say, I think he shut the camera off, but I could still hear like things banging around.
since he
That might have been
unceremoniously
my daughter. My daughter
disappeared.
was in the background.
Oh, maybe,
Okay. Is that what we were hearing?
maybe.
Yeah, she came in. She has a snake in her room. She came in to get the rat to go feed it.
Gotcha. Okay. Since Yusuf is not here right now, projects you're working on.
So I guess the main projects are like just my HypoPie project, and Hypo and Pied stuff, and then working just like Banana, Calico, OD into that. Well, not really. Well, kind of Banana, but I'm not going to be putting Banana into HypoPie. But definitely going to be working on like some Super OD and Chi HypoPie stuff. That's like my main project right now.
Super OD Enchi Hypopide.
Yep.
That's a good goal. That's real sick. I like that. What about you, Yusuf? If you're gonna stick around long enough to answer,
No, sorry, my phone was pretty much gonna die.
it's fine, man. I'm just
Projects that I'm working on. I'd say the most. I'd say about 90% of my collection is hypocentric. I'd say 80% is hypocentric, and then I'm kind of bringing hypo into clown, into Desert Ghost, into what else? I'm doing hypopide stuff too, but I'm going a different route with hypopide. I'm going to implement dark genes, right? Because everyone's going towards like more orange stuff, which is cool.
Mhm.
Which initially, like at some point, I will hit, but I'm going to be targeting dark genes like blackhead, GHI, hypopide, and that kind of stuff. I think it's a different avenue. What else?
It's
Oh,
funny
and of
that you
course,
say that because that's what I'm doing with Clownpide. Everybody's going bright with Clownpide. I'm like blackhead, mahogany, fucking
no,
straight. Let's do it.
that's awesome. That's freaking sick.
Yeah.
And then also I'm also I really like lavender. Got a bunch of good lavender pairs. We were talking about that yesterday.
Oh man, I forgot to send you the picture of the Black Vessel Yellow Belly Lav. Fuck. I'll send it to you tomorrow.
You sent me it.
No, I sent you the old one. I wanted to get you one of the flames on it. Like
an update.
those pictures I sent you are not anything like what it looks like. It's nuts.
No, lavender. You can't pick cameras. Just don't pick up lavender. Also another.
Did you see the fucking picture of the Yellow Belly Lav Het Pied that KJP posted today that I shared?
Yeah, so
like Yellow Belly and lavender belong together. It's nuts.
It enhances it. It's pretty awesome.
So much. It's crazy.
And then another albino I'm getting into on a small scale is toffee. When I say toffee, the toffee line that Peter Williams works with, because toffees and candies are like vary in I'm not gonna say quality, but I'm gonna say quality. Depending on what you're trying to aim for. Some people want to aim for that lavender look, and some people want to aim for those really purple, deep purple, that kind of turn a little toffee as it gets older. I want that more dark look to it, and I'm just taking it slow on that project. I'm probably going to do clown toffee stuff, but that's years. I'm doing really small.
Are you keeping it away from albino? Like, are you keeping it pure toffee?
Pure toffee. Pure toffee, and I'm actually not. This is not me shitting on anyone else's toffees. I've seen a lot of toffees, and the female that I got came from Peter Williams. This toffee, he has a toffee, in my opinion, is the nicest candy / toffee I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen a handful of them. And
I don't like albino complex stuff, but Peter's toffee stuff.
Yeah, it's fantastic,
man. It's something else.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So I'm gonna isolate it. I'm not gonna buy someone else. I've grown this girl up, and I'm gonna put a clown into it and just kind of go the long route. So yeah.
Gonna drop again to Yusuf.
Man,
what do you believe is a non-recessive staple gene that every collection needs at least one of? This is a new question just for this episode.
That's a good question. Can I say more than one? or does it have to be one only? That's hard, man. It's hard to say just one. But okay, if I were to say one, yellow belly.
That's
Yellow
my
belly.
answer too.
Yellow belly or asphalt, just because it's such a powerful, like it's such an important gene. So a lot of people say orange dream, blackhead, but like yellow belly works with everything. Literally with everything.
Sorry, I just got a very nice text message. Anyway,
I don't want to know.
Yellow belly is legitimately my
Oh, I
answer.
think you know.
I'm very into that answer.
And into that message too, right?
No, yeah, absolutely. That was great. No, you know what? Today's been a very good day in terms of me getting random text messages, and I hope it doesn't stop. Like I still got what, like 3.5 hours in my time zone.
Nice.
Like
Nice.
that's amazing. So okay, apart from yellow belly, then, because I feel like yellow belly, like as much as I agree,
It's an easy answer.
I almost exactly. That's exactly
Okay.
what I was gonna say.
Okay.
And I'll
Staple.
answer this too, to be fair, because that was my answer. So now I have to think.
Okay, a staple gene that works because like you got to look at it this way. Some people like the dark stuff. Some people like the bright stuff, and you want to find the gene that works with both bright and dark. I'd probably say Enchi.
Fuck you. That's what I was going to say.
It's a good answer.
Yeah.
And
So Enchi or I'd finally, I can't believe I haven't done this in a long time, but I finally got a spot nose in my collection.
That's, you know what, man, I thought I had another answer, but I love spot nose so much.
I waited because I didn't want just a single, like just a Kodam spot nose. I got a visual spot nose that's Pos Het Clown, and
very nice.
She's probably gonna prove it's clear. So again, that goes into my Hypo Clown project. But anyway, sorry, I'm not gonna take more.
It's all good, Mr. Dylan.
Well, Yusuf kind of took my answer there with Enchi, but if not Enchi, I would have to say either OD or Calico.
Oh, Calico, yes.
If we're talking Kodams,
Both are good. OD with like albino and stuff.
Difficult
But you know
to
what?
ID.
It still cleans it up.
That's what I'm thinking too. Like while I'm talking, I'm thinking about all the stuff it does. And I mean, like if you used Orange Dream very strategically in an albino project, I think actually it could be beneficial. So yeah, you know what? That's a good answer.
And then Calico decides. I don't think
Chris,
you can go
I
wrong with
left you for
Calico.
last, so now you've had so many answers burned on you already.
Spot nose was my first answer. Yellow belly was my second. I would say I agree with everything that's been said. Inchy is a good one that I don't have enough of. I guess I would probably go with something like vanilla or fire.
No?
Probably
Nice.
if I had to pick between vanilla, probably vanilla. Vanilla is my favorite of that.
Good
that
answer.
choice.
I'd choose vanilla
But
too.
it's I think lace will be a staple gene.
Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot lace.
But of what's
That's a good
readily
choice.
available now, what most people have, everything they've said, plus you got to have a nice quality vanilla.
So it's funny. It's funny that you brought lace up, and you're the last person to answer before me because I was going to specifically exclude lace just because I thought it would come up so quick.
Yeah.
I forgot about it.
Well, I don't call it lace to me. Staple gene is two definitions to me. Obviously, it's a gene that's very, very flexible. You can go so many directions with it. But it's also something that's mainstream, that's been around for a while, that's adopted.
That's not
by the
necessarily
community.
what I was going for with the question, though.
I know, but then that's why I said lace will get there. In my opinion, lace is going to get there. I've seen some amazing stuff with lace.
Now,
it's not there yet to me.
Think of it this way, though. Do you work lace because lace is the gene that you're adding stuff to, or is it you're adding lace to a different project?
My thing is lace going to work with everything, or is lace only working with the main big things that are being played with now? Is lace going to work well with Hypo? Maybe a lace Hypo is like...
Yes, it will. It will.
I'm not saying Hypo. I'm just giving us an example.
It's an example, Yusuf.
Is a lace albino gonna look cool, or are people gonna go,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
another albino? Cool, thanks.
Well, that's the thing is though. That's what most people say about albino. Oh, it's just an albino.
That's okay. Albino probably doesn't
Yeah,
count.
that's a albino's an odd one because albino. So many of these things we're talking about staple genes, albino hides. You know, you lose a lot of the color with them. So
A lot of people don't like that they have albino. I happen to have a very close friend that hit visual albinos in a different recessive pairing and were upset about it when they hit double recessives.
I will say there is one gene that is extremely staple in albino, and that's Java.
I have one Java animal.
Java lavender. Java's gonna just up the lavender game.
Dude, the Java Dream, the first one, not the Mark Mandic one. The first one, unreal.
Yeah.
I've seen it in person. It is so cool.
Oh, the one that
I
Michelle
don't
made?
think I've even seen a picture.
Oh my god, I haven't posted it in the Discord?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think I've seen a
Oh
picture of
my
it.
god.
That's
Okay,
the
yeah.
one that
So,
Michelle made, right?
yeah, Mordex made
Oh
it.
my god, she showed me it, and I lost my mind.
It's probably, if not the nicest, no, I think her Enchi Dream is my favorite dream I've ever seen in
Yeah.
person. But the Java Dream, the yellows on it when it was hatched, like it's probably changed a lot by now. I haven't seen it in like 3 months. But the yellows were so dark, deep yellow. It was almost brown, but still vibrant yellow. Like I can't even describe the color that was on this animal.
almost
The
like
whites,
gold.
exactly. The whites were bright as fuck white, but the yellows were so deep that they were almost brown, but still. Oh man, it was so cool. It some of the stuff they've made makes me angry.
Yeah, her lavender stuff is fantastic. I'm actually hoping that she gets the odds, and I want to grab a Java Lav male from her.
Okay, so Chris, you're more than welcome as well if the whole border thing doesn't fuck everything up. But Michelle usually does a couple like summer get-together things and over like the summer, obviously. So if you guys want to fucking come up and see the collection, message me. We can make that happen. It's fucking
Awesome.
outstanding. And
Yeah,
Chris,
Michelle's
obviously
also-
you're more than welcome too.
Michelle's also super nice, man. You got to get her on the Discord.
Where
She's super nice.
where is she?
Michelle can barely fucking function on Instagram and Facebook Messenger. I don't think she even knows what Discord means. Never knows what it is.
Mordex said she's like north of Toronto.
Yeah, so she's
Toronto
like
is
an
just
hour and a
under
half-
8 hours for me.
Yeah, so she's about an hour and a half north of Toronto. But you could also make a plan to see Billy's facility if you were going that direction because you'd have to go through Toronto anyway.
Well, that's what I was saying.
You
I
drive
drove
through.
14 hours to St. Louis and back
And-
and didn't buy anything, So
Don't get me wrong, it
9
was a
hours
lot
isn't
of
that
fun.
big.
It was a lot of fun seeing Billy's facility in the summer, but man, it was so hot. That was
to be
One
fair,
day.
he didn't
That
have all
many people?
the stuff in.
yeah. That was a fun time though. But that's actually a good reason for joining the Discord. A lot of the people who decided to go there were people in the Discord, and a lot of people I met in the Discord, like Malcolm from Storm Exotics, for example. Like I met him at Billy's. So
Really?
yeah, I didn't even know who he was until I met him. So like face wise, and Tyler from Hyped Up Reptiles and a bunch
Hey.
of other people.
Oh yeah. Big shout out to Tyler,
Yeah,
another old
Oh.
MC crew guy. Yeah.
yeah. So
No, it's actually funny. That was the first time I also met Malcolm.
which is
Yeah.
super nice guy.
Absolutely, yeah. Malcolm's been in the chat this whole time.
Yeah.
Always supporting the show. He's part of the Discord as well. Great dude. And you know what? That little get together in the summer too was kind of just like a Discord get together as well. Like we had a bunch of us there. We really
Yeah.
should have all just taken a picture, but we didn't.
No. Yeah, we should have.
Oh well. Okay, so we're gonna start wrapping this up. Still got a bit of time, but I'm gonna start asking my fun questions. And you know what? I'm gonna jump right into my. We're gonna wrap this up with 2 questions, and they're my favorite 2 to ask. So we're gonna go to Chris. What was your first big disappointment or letdown in this hobby?
That's an easy one for me. I lost an animal rather suddenly that absolutely took the wind out of my sails. I had a high percentage super dwarf Motley golden child from Reach Out Reptiles. Those are the ones that are all black with the bone white head.
Oh wow, man!
And he had the most perfect silver eyes, and he was just. We called him Houdini because he was just. I called him Houdini because the day I met Garrett, he handed me a snake bag. He escaped a snake bag at the show. So it was. I called him. He's a Houdini and just stuck. But that was hands down that animal got my mom to like snakes. That animal got my stepfather to like snakes, got my daughter to like snakes. He was just everything you hear about retics. This was the opposite. I don't care, food in the room, handling rats. He was just a fantastic animal. And I found him. I was actually prepping the room for some friends from out of town coming over. They were coming over specifically to see the collection. They live an hour away, and the two youngest boys wanted to come see the snakes. I cleaned the room. They're literally could walk in the door any minute, open Houdini's cage and found him dead. I know now why, because obviously an animal drops something like that. There's all kinds of things that go through your head. He had tumors on his heart and his lungs, and lung. Before you continue on that, Chris, just 1 second too, guys. If you have animals drop suddenly, first of all, I know it's traumatic and it sucks and it's the worst thing ever, but like, get them checked for your own. You gotta know why.
Do it. Yes. Go get them necropsy. Never just be like, oh well, that's the way it is. Even if it's something very natural, find out it's for your benefit.
But
anyway,
so that's easily my biggest letdown. It was I was never planning to breed him. He was just my favorite animal in the collection who closed that gap. My mom was so anti-snakes. She's the reason I couldn't have snakes as a kid. And I have a picture of my mother sitting on my couch with Houdini crawling through her hair. And I will keep that picture forever.
So how old was he?
3.
That sucks, man.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So.
Cheers to Houdini.
Sorry to start on a downer, but you asked a downer question.
Hey, man,
that's Tyler was asking in the chat what I'm drinking. OV. A lot of people call it old vagina.
Oh.
All right, Yusuf, your turn.
Oh, my shitty odds on my pie product. No, I'm just joking. An actual serious letdown that actually almost got me to get out of the hobby, and Dylan knows this. I had a Hypo boa. So I got this. She was my second snake. Got her in 2017, and freaking loved that thing, right? And it was my first time ever owning a boa, and I just bonded with that thing a lot. And out of all my snakes, it was the one I always handled every day. And one day she was growing. I think she at 2 years old just opened her tub, and I was handling her the day before, and she was fine. And opened her tub, and she didn't look right. And within a little bit, she died. And devastated, man. That was like, I know exactly what Paul like felt like in that moment. I was telling Dylan came over and stuff, and I forgot why you came over, but I was telling him, look, man, I'm done. I don't want to be in this. I don't want to deal with that again. That was bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about an animal that cost me $150, right? So it's not an investment animal or anything. It was just disappointing, man. It's like you expect an animal like that to live for 20 plus years and all that kind of stuff. And
you know he is. Why are you asking the question?
He lives there. It's named after him.
But yeah, I remember that day, Yusuf. I remember having to like talk you out of it, but like,
Yeah,
nah,
man.
man, don't.
Like I'm not a person. I don't really cry that much. Just not because I'm a man or anything. It's just I'm just not a crier, right? And my girlfriend has never seen me cry, and she figured out that I went into my own little bubble and kind of cried about it, and she was pissed off that she didn't get to see it. She's like, "You cried? I didn't see it." Yeah, so
I feel you, Yusuf. I
yeah,
left
man.
Eugenie's cage open.
I
for 6
literally
months,
actually
and
so on my
I
incubator I still
refused
have
to reuse the cage.
so so her name is really stupid. I called her name was Snikira, okay, and I still have her label on my incubator. Just stays there, just
Did you say
I don't know.
Snookiera?
Snikira.
Is that like a
Snookiera.
combination of Snooki and Shakira?
Yeah.
Why?
Lame. It's a lame. I know
No,
I
I
don't
need to know because I had
Yeah,
a snake.
so-
I still technically have a snake named Snooki.
okay. So the reason why is because I don't
Am I
really
the only one who didn't watch Jersey Shore?
I don't watch Jersey Shore
I've
either.
never watched it once.
Yeah.
Neither have I. But I still know who Snooki is, so I guess.
Yeah,
Exactly.
unfortunately, right? But yeah, man, it was devastating, and after a few days, you think about it, and you have like again a good support system around you of people saying, "Hey, it happens, it's life." Dylan, Peter, my girlfriend, Nicole, they're like, "Hey, man." And then you hear their experiences. Like Peter told me some of his experiences, and it made mine pretty rough. Like it made mine nothing really. In all honesty, it's part of it. You own animals, it's gonna happen. So that's actually another lesson you'll learn as you become a breeder or a reptile owner, right?
Yeah.
So
Things die.
Sometimes shit happens, and sometimes shit happens
now the worst part is
out of your control.
as you're adding is getting your animals checked. She died, and the same day we went into a lockdown. The whole world shut down. So I couldn't even send her for. I reached out to my vet, and she said, "Yeah, we're not taking any appointments. We're shutting down right now." This is the first COVID bullshit around March, and so I'm like, can I just put her in the freezer? She says, "You do that. If there was something in her, it'll go. Like you won't know." So I could have, but now that I look at it, if she did have a tumor or anything like that, even after freezing her, she would have been able to tell.
Yeah.
But I just took it upon myself to say, you know what, it is what it is. I have a healthy collection, and I buy from reputable people. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, and what? That's the thing too. Like, no matter what we do or what happens, like, yes, there's various different viruses that are present within this species, and then obviously there's the complications that can come up, respiratory infections, stuff like that. Obviously, things that we can identify and work to rectify. But just like in people, you're also going to have random death. You're going to have random heart failure. Like it's going to happen with the sheer amount of snakes that we have in captivity across hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah. It happens a lot more than you think.
Exactly. Yes, it's going to happen. Like
my girlfriend works
in snakes drop dead.
Yeah. I know my girlfriend works in the funeral industry, and yeah, it just happens a lot. Like people just can't diagnose what the issues are. So and snakes are not as studied as human beings. When you look at it, it's like, oh, it's sick. You fill it with antibiotics.
Yep.
Versus a human, you got to go through more testing. There's not much testing with snakes, which sucks in my opinion. It's not something that's researched as much as it should be, but there's no funding.
It's something that the funding isn't there for. Like,
but the thing is, with the way our hobby is, we should start funding it.
The thing is, we are, but the people that are funding things are funding the wrong things. Like they're funding genetic testing over virology testing and stuff like that, and testing the biology of the animals to understand them better first.
Yeah.
Because the money is in labeling genetics. And that sucks.
Disappointing.
That really sucks.
Yeah.
And it's not going to not be beneficial. I'm super stoked for the day I can send in some sheds and be like, oh shit, this 50% het lab is worth nothing.
Yeah. I just think that it's very business driven. Like it's very
100%.
business driven, you know?
It's creating a business. It's creating something they can charge money for later, for sure.
It is what it is.
Dylan.
Yeah, I guess the biggest disappointment or letdown in the hobby would be, like I was saying earlier, with my banana pin male. Had a prolapse back in November. I haven't had any animals die on me. I've had to deal with mites and stuff, but that's that's not that big of a deal. But yeah, just the banana pin male. He had one hemipene prolapse. I remember it was like a week after he last paired, so I don't know if the female yanked on something. I don't remember even looking after I pulled him to even look at the vent and stuff. And a few days later, I opened his tub and to like just do a routine clean and water change, and I was like, oh, there's something like kind of red by his tail, and I picked him up and I was like, oh, that's not right. And then I tried to do the sugar water. Well, I cleaned it off first, and then tried to do the sugar paste. That didn't work or nothing. So then I took him to the vet the next because I noticed it on Saturday, so I couldn't take him into the vet until Monday. And then by that night, we took him home. He had a minor surgery of removing one of his hemipenes, and he seems to be fine now.
That's, you know what? It sucks. So what happened to your male likely is what happened to our first power male that retired, right? So we had a pastel lesser leopard clown. And this animal probably sired like 25% of my adult female collection right now. In terms of, not even in terms of anything. No, probably 25% of our like holdbacks, like most of my stuff that's either breeder or almost breeder in my head clown stuff is from him. Right? And he was pairing up last year to my spot nose head clown female. It would have been the first female I ever had that I produced that would have went on to lay. The first time they paired, I opened the bin and he jerked away from her.
Yeah.
I assumed that the lock wasn't 100% at the time because he pulled away and he was like away from her, right? So I was like, okay, shit, sorry. Pushed the bin back, left him alone for another day. When I checked him the next day, I saw the hemipene. So I was like, fuck. Okay. So I took him out. I cleaned it off. I called a bunch of people. And, you know, I got him to subvert the hemipene. I got it back in. There's like a polysporin treatment you can do on it because if it's not necrotic, there's a chance you can save it if it's just swollen, right? Mm-hmm. So we did the whole process. He was doing pretty good, but at that point we were like, okay, he's probably done.
Yeah.
But like we were holding out hope, of course.
Yeah. Right? That happened to my pied male, my breeder male. I was telling you this season.
No, this isn't the end of the story, though. This is the problem.
Oh no!
So usually, if things go well, if you start pairing again, they should be fine, right? So I let about 6-8 months pass. The spot nose had reabsorbed, and I try to pair him to another animal. And the first time he pairs, when he separates, the hemipene's hanging out and all swollen again.
Oh no!
So we decided that was it for him. We got it cut off. He's done. Like, can he breed? Yes, but has he been through enough? Probably also yes. But
what?
That said, that animal is going to lead into my last question. So,
okay, can I say one comment I wanted to make before I lose it?
No.
Yes. It's so, and I've seen it a little bit recently where like people are making reels on Instagram of
Pouring
ripping
the
open
tub.
the tubs to show the lock. And it sketches me out every time that I don't see it open all gently and slowly. Like they're just ripping
Oh, and
it.
they
And
just
I'm
like rip the tub
yeah,
open.
and
You're like,
it makes me, on the inside, I'm just like, you're going to tear off your fucking male's hemipenes. Like, it's not going to be a good time.
anytime your snakes are paired up, be
Leave them
gentle,
alone.
guys. Be slow. If you have the capacity to turn some lights off in your room, do that. Like, interrupt them as little as possible. I understand you want that Instagram picture,
Just to confirm a
an
lock
Instagram
too.
story picture or whatever. Guys, the successful lock is more important than the picture of it. I promise.
The way I look at it is some people like to actually see the tails. This is how I do it, just to be safe. I literally open the tub this much, and I peek through. If I see the male huddled in with the female, I consider that a lock. I don't even bother. Like,
See,
at the end
I
of the
don't
day,
go that far, but I will open up the tub enough to know if the male's in a position to be locked.
yeah. Well, to me, the way I look at it is I'd rather do that than take the risk for the most part. Now, especially with my OD pied male, like after that happened to him, it's damn, man. I'm even going to be more paranoid.
The thing is, though, after having so many, right? Like, I can kind of tell if a male's going to wince, you can see it. Like,
He courts. Yeah. He starts courting, and you can see it.
If I start opening a bin and I see a male and he fucking jerks his head around, he starts tensing his body, I don't care. Fucking close that bin up. Like, you lock, you don't lock. That's your problem, buddy.
Yeah.
But if I open a fucking tub and the male's just chilling there, fucking doing his fucking thing, just like whatever, fuck you. Like,
you want proof
I'll
of my
open the
twin?
whole tub up and I'll get my camera right in there to get some fucking pictures. I don't give a fuck.
You want some proof that I have a twin? Here's the proof. Hi. Cheers. Hi. How's she going?
He hit a mirror.
It's going.
It looked like he hit a mirror.
How are you?
Sorry?
So what's up to your brother?
How's she going?
Okay, so since you cut me off and now I can't make my segue,
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh.
Dylan, we're going to start with somebody that's not Dylan with this one. Yusuf, if you could remove one gene from the entire hobby, not just your collection, what would that gene be? And would your answer change if it was limited to what you had?
Would my answer change if it was limited to my collection? Yes, it would.
Those are the ones I like.
Yeah, the ones I like. One gene that I wish didn't exist in the hobby, because I think it's getting a little out of control. You know where I'm going with this. Monsoon. Monsoon's getting way out of control. I'm sorry, Billy. I'm sorry, anyone.
I wouldn't even be that upset. I'd be like, all right, yeah, I get it.
Like the pos het, all the pos het stuff, and that stuff is ridiculous. Like people saying, oh, that's het, that's not het, that's het. I don't know where the line is. So there's a lot of unknowns, and I'm not a fan of unknowns. Another thing is the project itself is cool. I think the standalone animal it's really fascinating, but how do you take that project forward? I mean, I've seen Spider Monsoon, and Spider didn't do anything to Monsoon, so I could be wrong, but now I could add more.
No way to change Monsoon yet. I don't think we've found it.
Yeah.
But that said, do I think it's
Overrated?
worth all the effort and time?
No. I can add a few more genes, but if I were to limit it in and that's hard, man. Like I spent a lot of hours in here fantasizing. So
there is no rule that says you can't answer none, and no one has done that yet.
Okay. But now I want to. So let me see. Spider.
That's a pretty safe answer.
Yeah.
Dylan, what about you?
Lesser. If it's not something that I have, lesser, just because I want nothing to do with it. So if I want nothing to do with it and I can make sure I have nothing to do with it, that'll work.
I love that you have the same white girl dream killing. But continue.
If it was something that was in my collection, let me see.
all our snakes off my hair. Come on. Banana.
No, nothing.
Have to collect. I actually just got out of banana, so yeah.
Got out of it. Why?
Toffee's better.
We're not going to touch on that, Dylan. Fitz.
Pastel. I'd give it a pastel.
Oh, I love pastel.
I mean, the fact that you're working in Hypo Pie and you want pastel gone is kind of weird because pastel Hypo Pie stuff is amazing. But
yeah. Pastel DG.
Yeah, that too. Mr. Chris, you're our last answer, and then I'm going to wrap this up because we're running on 2 hours. What gene would you like gone?
Man, I don't know that
before you answer. I've been waiting for somebody to be like, "You know what? Fuck Enchi." Like nobody's done it yet. Like not necessarily Enchi.
What?
Like, not necessarily Enchi, but I just feel like fuck fire. Like I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for that person to be like, "You know what I fucking hate? Nobody ever asked me about." It's gonna happen.
If there is a gene I feel needs to go away and people need to stop working with, it's probably desert. Believe it or not, there are people who still work with desert. For the better of the
hobby. Look at Chris. I like this.
But as far as what's in my collection, I can honestly say there's no genes in my collection I don't wish I had. I wish I didn't.
Okay, so he went with the none. I like it. You took the first one. That's awesome. You know what? My answer is always lesser, only because
we can't be friends now. That's okay.
The worst part is, it would fuck me. It would actually fuck me because I actually have a lot of lesser combos that would work really well in the recessive genes they're het for that it would mess me up with. Like, I have a lesser leopard double het hypoclown. A lesser leopard hypoclown would look fucking sick.
Yeah.
It would look very different from a leopard hypoclown.
Yes.
That would burn me. Like, because lesser with hypo looks amazing. You add lesser leopard, it's
lesser insane. Clowns are underrated in my opinion.
100%. Lesser clowns are something else.
They're not real. They don't look real.
And I've never seen a hypo lesser clown.
But this is what I'm talking about. Like, it would fuck me, but at the same time, like, I hate that I have to be so selective in what I put together. Because now, if I go and buy myself a really nice special clown combo male, I can't put it to any of the lesser stuff that I held back to set clown.
Yeah.
Or even any lesser stuff I have that isn't het clown. I can't because I don't want to make a bell that I don't know what it is that I then sell to somebody else for peanuts that they prove out to be a fucking visual. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, Hey, Chris, do you have any scaleless?
No.
And other Chris as well.
Fully scaleless, no, but I have scaleless head animals, yes.
Okay. I didn't want to. I changed my mind from monsoon.
I have one scaleless head.
Okay, I changed my mind from monsoon to scaleless.
I don't intend to go for a lot of fully scaleless animals. I think
people use scaleless head for the influence.
Exactly. I have a scaleless head firefly that is just as vivid and bright as he was when he was born.
That's awesome.
Well, I have a scaleless head pastel yellow belly. That's brighter than most firefly yellow bellies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
She's an adult.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
I want to see that. I want to see a scaleless female.
Now that makes sense. I've heard people leveraging it that way. Just the visual scaleless stuff. There are moral questions there that I'm not into. I'm not going to get into that. So
this is really funny because I originally, when I first saw the first scaleless ball python, and I watched the fucking premiere of fucking Barchek's video. Like, this is how far back this is going.
When he cut it.
Yeah, I watched the fucking premiere of the fucking video. For like, oh man, I want to say like 8 or 9 years. My one goal in ball pythons was to make my own scaleless. Not for breeding, just to say I did it and I could keep it.
Well, you know what? We were at Pete's house how long ago? A month and a half ago-ish?
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
Mike
rub it
Graham.
in.
Mike Graham brought what was it? It was a scaleless, but what was it? It was
Stream something scaleless. Yes.
it was I don't know. It was cool. It was really cool.
They're
But
very cool to see and hold, and
Feels like a really clean shaved balls.
It's a really weird feeling. It's not what you expect.
I like scales. I think the most fascinating thing about snakes are scales. I don't know. I just think it's cool. The scientific aspect of why they have scales. It's just so fascinating to me. It's their armor. You take it away from them, they're vulnerable as hell.
It's actually kind of cool because I realized once I actually got to see a few in person, the scaleless, that it wasn't something I cared about to own. You know what I mean? Like I was like, okay, now I've experienced this. Now
You're kind of over it.
Like I have no problem with people making scaleless animals. I need to say that. If you want to make cooler scaleless shit, go for it. Make them.
Oh, I told Mike Graham when he was there because he likes scaleless. It's not a personal attack. It's just to me. It's just that's my opinion on it, right?
And you know what? Like I said, like I had a dream for a long time to make them.
Yeah.
I bought my pastel yellow belly scaleless head female with the intents to make one.
Yeah.
Now I really just want to make a cool ass freeway hep hide combo that's bright as fuck.
Yeah. That's fair.
I would like to see scaleless head used as the enhancer gene it is, with people pretty much forgetting about
the scaleless
version of it.
It's like using a Mojave but not making a bell.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly it.
I have a pairing this year that could produce supers. I have pastel inchy scaleless head bred to that scaleless head firefly male. Any full scaleless will not be for sale. I'll keep them.
And you know what?
And if I don't hit any, I won't be mad.
If somebody
if I'm going to
come to me
play
tomorrow,
with one, I want it to be mine.
If somebody were to come to me tomorrow and we're like, "Hey, I have this scaleless ball python. Give me $1,000 for it. It's a normal male." I'd take it. Like I would take that animal just to have it, like just to own it and keep it and love it. I would. I don't care. I'll admit it. I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But I would not breed for it.
Yeah. They're definitely a novelty.
Yeah.
Yes, but I also feel like once I had one, I'd want way more.
But that's with everything, though. You can just say that about every ball python.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like that's not just that's very very common for every project you're working. It's like I need more orange green.
It's like lavender. The more, as a person who owns lavender, Chris would probably know this, the amount of abuse people give you, like lavender sucks, and you're like, well, you know what? I love lavender.
That's what you can do.
That's exactly. I'm just like, you know what? Just because you said that, I just bought another one.
Yeah. You know what? I like it more now.
I like it more now. The less people on the project, the better chances of me hitting some cool stuff.
You can fuck off to your other projects. We'll fucking make cool shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, we're past 2 hours. Holy shit.
Oh wow.
I still got to feed tonight.
I was gonna say this might be the first episode in a while that I haven't tried to like end early because I was hungry. I was just having a lot of fun. This is fucking great. This is just a good example of what the Discord is, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a constant conversation between a bunch of people. Levels of experience is irrelevant in the Discord, guys. Like, we don't care where you're at. We don't care if you just started keeping, if you've been doing it for 100 years. If you've been doing it for 100 years, please join the Discord. That sounds amazing. Also, you predate every other ball python breeder on the planet. So, yes, join the Discord. But seriously, like, it's just a constant conversation with a bunch of different really cool viewpoints. And you know what? We're never not going to appreciate new insights and new input from different people. But guys, I'm going to do a quick outro. Thank you all so much. This is super fun.
Thanks for having us, man.
Dude.
Thanks, Eric.
Appreciate the invite.
I said dude, but I meant dudes. Yeah, you know what? I don't even know what to say. Like this honestly was just so fun. So
all right, let's go to Discord now, Dylan.
That's what's gonna happen.
These are gonna keep happening. We're gonna be doing one Discord feature a month, guys. If you're watching, you're not part of the Discord. If you're watching now, you're watching after the fact, whatever. DM us, even fucking leave a comment on this video. I don't care. If you want to be part of the Discord, you're more than welcome. I'll send you an invite. Feel free. But guys, thank you so much. I'm gonna drop you off the screen and do a quick outro now. So if any of you or each of you want to do, a quick goodbye or whatever, you're more than welcome to. We'll start with Chris. And yeah, thanks guys. This is fucking fun as fuck.
I'm good. Appreciate the invite, Chris. Had a good time.
Yusuf.
Yeah, thanks for the invite, man, and hope to see more of these podcasts, and yeah,
we'll keep them going. We'll try anyway. You know what? I keep trying to get Nick to do more of these with me, and he says he'll do them, and then Friday night rolls around. I don't get a text from him until after the shows are over.
Yeah.
Convenient.
I think Nick's buried somewhere. You keep talking about this Nick guy. I've never met him.
Shut the
Yeah, I will sign up.
I've met him in person. He is a real person.
Oh, yeah,
But
that's
he's
right.
still
Dylan and
breathing.
Yusuf have both actually met Nick.
I have met Nick a couple of times now. Actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Dylan's actually.
Yeah.
No, you both have met him a couple times.
Yeah.
I've been to Nick's house. I just haven't been inside.
But unfortunately, she passed away too.
Oh, well, damn.
Being in Nick's house, that's kind of weird. Mr. Dylan, you have anything to say to your adoring masses?
Thanks for having me. Follow me on Instagram, Dizzy_reptiles. So the Morph Market link's in there too.
Cheap plug.
Don't be afraid to go check that out.
Now that Dylan's done that, Yusuf, how do people find you?
Find me on Instagram, snake_shack.
Chris.
Heli guy serpents everywhere. Mostly Instagram. That's the best. Or the Discord. That's probably the best.
And that's my logo. So you see that, my thumbnail. There you go.
Easy as pie. All right, guys, I'm going to drop you off and do a quick outro. Thank you guys so much.
Cheers, brother.
I will catch up with all of you very soon, obviously. Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you.
Good night. Have a good
Thank you
Friday.
a lot.
Have a good weekend.
You too. All right.
Peace, guys.
Yep.
All right, guys. That was fun as all fuck. Yeah, no, I expected that to be a good show, but that was really, really, really good. So, guys, we had a ticker scrolling for a good portion of the show, but we are still in the process of doing fundraising for Atypical Origins. I was supposed to do it tonight, but life got in the way. But we currently have a raffle up for a male pied 66% het lavender male. With Mary Python on Instagram. We actually plan on adding a 900 gram, 100% het pied, 50% het lavender female to that raffle. That has not been announced yet. So if you want to get in on the raffle before that gets announced, I suggest you do it, because once that extra female is announced, the price is going up $20 a spot. So if you want to get in on the raffle at $15, your entry will be carried over once the new female has been added to the raffle, and you'll pay the existing price. So guys, please go over to Mary_Python_ page, message her, get in to be part of that raffle. You could get a male pied 66% het lavender and a female 900 gram 100% het pied 50% het lavender for $15. That's pretty fucking sweet. And you know what? That's all I'm going to say. Guys, have a great night. As always, The next episode will probably be announced on Wednesday of next week. I'm going to try to start announcing them earlier than that, but I'm also terrible at organizing and planning things. So, yeah. Look forward to that on Wednesday, guys. I'm really hoping that it's a really fun one. I'm just waiting for confirmation. And, yeah, I will catch you guys next Friday, 7 p.m. EST. Have a good weekend. See you later.